Hello, welcome to our presentation for Belangue, a language learning flashcard app with object detection and auto translator. The group consists from Arish, Alvin, and Stephanie. So here we're gonna start with the business side of the presentation. Please check these time frames if you want to jump to different sides of the presentation. The problem that we try to solve is it can be hard to learn language. People don't know the object are, or sometimes we have to find out the other word meaning on the other language. For example, here you know how to say milk in English, but you maybe not know how to say milk in Spanish. Therefore, you have to look it up first, and that just means more preparation time when to study, and that can take a lot of time. In psychology, we'll learn that by rehearsing the information that you get, you can store the information from short term and transfer it to the long term memory. Therefore, we have the solution, which is Belangue. First, we have the ability to use the camera and point and shoot on the objects that we're trying to translate. For example, like here, you can translate what a wall brick is. And by clicking on the button, it will run and take a picture, and it will uses the object detection and give out the name and also the translation of the chosen language. And then you can also have a flashcard method of learning where you can click on the blue button and it will flip the card, and also there is the next and previous button that you can click to shuffle through the cards. And also, instead of making each deck knowing what milk is in English and Spanish, you can create just a list of words in English and then pick language that you want to translate it into, and then it will automatically translate it for you. Now we'll talk about the user stories. First, a user wants to have an on-demand translation so they can have a fast result, and also they can, such as travelers, they want to have a really quick conversation and also continue with their day. Therefore, we implement an object detection and also translation from MLKit by the camera. Next, the user want to have a way to memorize and learn the words every day and use repetition. That's why you use the flashcard method. So the information rehearsal tool to memorize words and also implement auto translation that you can pick language at the beginning. And the last one is the user-made flashcards. This allows users to create their own flashcards, and they can also share their flashcard with other users too. And we also implemented a search bar so they can search through the database. As you can see from the user stories, the target market that we're trying to reach are language learners and also travelers. We implemented the camera feature and also the flashcard to make it easier for people to use it and also learn on the go. And the selling point of our app is the ability to detect object around us and translate without having the hassle to know what's the word in the other language. I want to talk about our agile methodology that we use to finish this project. So as you can see, we have a Trello dashboard, and we use the Trello board to track our work. And we can see from the first sprint is actually pre-development. So we have we designed some assets for the app, and we also designed the UI UX. We improved some from the phase 1, and we also designed the database and how it's gonna look like, and also we designed the tech stack. And the second sprint, we focus on working on the camera usability and also the object detection and translation. As you can see here, we also developed the pages for the front end, and Trello is actually really easy to use, and you can embed your GitHub repo here, and then there are some to-do lists that you can use and your peers can check out on your work. On sprint 3, we focus on the database. So we start from deleting users and authentication and also username handling. We also have some fixing from the previous sprint, and also we do some more front end and also the translation API. However, we had some difficulty setting up the database. Therefore, we have to move some of the tasks to the sprint 4, even though in sprint 4 we focus on creating the decks or allowing users to create their own decks. Like for example, here we still have some fixes for the front end from the previous sprint, and also fixes from the authentication and username settings. And also we finally finished the real-time database connection, and also we finished working on the create deck page for front end, and also the functionality of the flashcard where you can click on the button and it will change the text inside the button as if it's a flashcard, and also going next and previous to change the word for the button. And there are more front end and also fixing on the authentication, and there are more fixes since this is our last sprint for the project.
Okay, once you open our app, you'll be prompted with a login, which you can do with your email or your username, or you can also create an account. Here, let me log in with my account. Once successful, you can see a list of languages, starting with Indo, French, Vietnamese, Spanish, Russian, and Italian. You can pick any language, and when you click on Learn, you'll see a few decks, and each deck is presented with flashcards, which you can flip. And if you want to create a deck, let's see here, electronics, and the word in English, let's say computers, laptop. And for example, if you put a wrong word, you can just long click it and then you can delete the word. Once you finish the deck, you can open the laptop, the electronics deck, then you can flip it and you will see the word in the selected language. For the camera, you can also detect objects such as, see, your laptop, and it will prompt you with the word in English and the word in your selected language.
So first, we want to talk about the technology that we use to create this mobile app. The mobile app itself is actually built from Android Java. So basically, you want to start to make the front end first. For example, for the login page, you want to make an XML file, and you can see this is the front end part of it, and also to create account page. Then for the backend, you will use a Java file such as login activity. We call it an activity, and you store the variables, and also if you have any function you need to call, such as connection with the database, and what happens if you click the buttons. Everything happens in the Java file. This is every XML has their own Java file or the activity. Same thing with the create account activity. This connects to the create account page, as you see here. Okay, so we will not review all the codes, but we will talk about the major pages such as authentication, camera, object detection, and also creating the card deck and opening the flashcards. So as you can see here, we have the XML file for login and create account. So it's pretty straightforward. You have linear layout, and it's just like a div for HTML, and you can easily drag and drop, or you can code them and have a little window to open and review your layout after having the XML file. So in this one, you want to declare the buttons and also the edit text or anything that you want to edit or use in the activity. And here there's evidence of using the database of that we will talk about later for the Firebase. So and this one is a create account button, which is this button, and this, as you can see here, it will go in 10 to the create account activity, and then when you click on this, it will run the create account activity, and instead of showing the login page, it will show the content to the create account. Same goes here. We have to connect to the database, and we also have the button back to the login page, and here we can declare and find the ID of those components or the buttons or text in the layout. Then you can have set a click listener. When you click on it, you can call a method or a function, and this function will run a uh, specific code for just collecting your email from the text field, and also a username and password. We also have a string regex here, and it's just to check if your email that you input is valid or not. We can discuss this a little bit more in our unit testing. So, and then for the database, we're actually storing the usernames only in the database. We'll talk more about that in the Firebase section. Okay, now we talk about the camera page. So this is the XML file for the camera, As you can see, we use the image button for the back text view for the explore page, and then we also have a look card view for the camera preview. And for the camera preview, there is something interesting with this because you have to ask for a camera permission. You can find them here. And then how it works is that every time you click on the button, it will capture an image from the camera. It will run a function to detect the object. It will open the path for the image that already been captured and also the language that you pick beforehand. If they cannot identify the object, it will give you a toast that says error capturing image, or you can there is no object detected. And yeah, and then they will continue with the translation with also MLKit and give you the translated version of the word of the object. Next, we talk about the create deck. So here you can see that we have the back button also, and then the title of the page, and we have two text field, which is the deck name here or the title of the deck that you want, and also the word that you want to input inside the deck. And we also have a list view where we can, when the user can check out the words they already inserted inside the deck, and then you have the add word to add the word that you already input here to the list view, and when you're done you can use it with the finished deck. And the backend is the same, and we declare which one the ID. We have an array. So the interesting part about our app is instead of inserting two things such as one word in English and the other word in Spanish or any other language, you only have to input the words in English, and then we will automatically translate it for you every time you open the deck. So here we're only connecting to the database, and then we just store them under that document, and then it will give you a toast if it already existed or there's an error going on. Once you click the save button, it will say the save button has clicked. We also use this lock for checking errors and also during the development for production. And when you complete it, it will go back to the learn activity page. So now we're talking about the flashcard page. As you can see here, we have a really big button for the flashcard, and we have the previous also next that will change the word, and when you click on this big button it will change as if it flips the button. Okay, so for the backend we use the dictionary that already made when we clicked on the list of flashcards from the previous page, and then with the dictionary we will get the first value, and then we set the first value of the key to the button, so it will be the first English word. And then every time you click on the big button, the blue button, it will just flip between false and true, which is between the key and the value for the dictionary. And then for the back button is just go to the previous page, and for the next button is it will actually increase the current index into 1, and it will check if the current index is 0, then it will go back to the beginning of the list. Same with previous button, but vice versa. So it will decrease the current index and it will show you the previous word in the dictionary. Okay, so now we talk about the Firebase technology. There are 4 different Firebase technology that we use, such as real-time database, MLKit, authentication, and also analytics. We use real-time database to store the flashcard text, language details, and also the username of the users. For MLKit, we use it for object detection and also the translation. And for authentication, we use it to get user authentication and to handle email and password, login or create account. And also Firebase authentication is really nice since you have an automated email verification and also password reset. And we also implement analytics to see and review our app usage for users. So as you can see here in the console, this authentication, there are 3 users currently. It will not store the password, and then we can actually add more sign-in methods instead of just email and password. For example, like Google, or use a phone number with GitHub, Twitter, And we can see here a template of emails. This one is to verify an email when you create an account, and also this for the password reset, and so if you want to change your email address. And we can also review how many daily users or monthly users or in total. For the real-time database, as you can see, we have three different parents. We have deck, language, and users. For users, we just store the email of the user and also the username. For the language, we use the language as the parent, and also the country, and also the language. For the deck, we have a unique ID, and we have the title of the deck, which is, for example, food. And here we have the list of English words such as chicken, fish, rice, and noodles. Same with everything, and all the words will be translated later during opening the flashcard deck. And then for the analytics dashboard, we can see there's 57 user activities in 30 days, and so in one day, today, there's only 9 users, 9 activity ads happening, and there's a lot of it you can see, such as also how many views for each page and each activity, and how many times they call the screen view or how the functions, and you can see the origin of each users and also the device models. We also use Crashlytics, but I think we will talk about that for the testing. Now we will talk about the testing. So first we will talk about the unit testing. We use this email function to check if an email is actually correct or falls under the category of an email, and for the unit testing we can expect it to be true for or the right email and also false for the wrong email. So as you can see here, there are different type of tests. For example, we have the email with the dot in the middle, we have an email with the numbers, we have email with a dot and also a multi-domain email, and then we also have a normal email with a different domain. We expect it to have some errors, such as with the double at, also the one that doesn't have a domain or doesn't have an at and domain, and also just a normal string. So we expect them all to be false, and as you can see in the result, we pass everything, therefore the regex or the function is already correct. Next we will talk about the UI testing and instrumented testing. For the UI testing, we tested on the camera preview and also the create deck UI test. Okay, so for the UI test, we can see there are a rule for the create deck activity and for the create deck activity, and then we can set up the before. We just set up the edit text. We can use the ID for index.ml, set it into like an example value, such as sites and particles. And then we wanted to see if it actually cleared the input field when you click on the add button card. So when you input particles and you click on the card, it's supposed to clear the word text again to an empty string. And also when you click on the add button, the deck title are not supposed to do anything. It's supposed to have still the value science. And after you're done creating, you can click on the add and finish, and then once you have science and particles inside the list, it will allow you to click on the finish deck and it will be there. And as you can see from our testing, it already passed.
Oh, this is our instrumented test. We first set it up with the intent passing of the selected language, and then we test our click back button, which should route us back to another page where our learn button object is there. Then click create button, where we show that we can create a deck, and then if the title is matching with the create deck that we just made. And then there's a click search button where we test if we can search our decks or not. So we are running this. Once you click start, the program of testing will start by itself on the emulator, and it will show you whether the task has passed or not. Right, that's all for our instrumented testing. So here is our performance profiling. So as you can see here, with every button touch we can see the memory and the CPU spike a little bit. So you can see here the most is in 51%, and the CPU usage is justified here because rendering a flash card from the database itself is pretty heavy on the resource. And also our camera preview over here, we implemented a object detection with translation on the go, so the CPU usage is pretty justified here. And if we see the memory, you can see there's a spike in the camera preview when we're trying to detect the objects and translate it at the same time. And the memory usage here is also justified because object detection is also a memory intensive process. But after the significant peaks here, we can see that the memory kind of stabilizes here. There are no visible memory leaks, which means that our app manages the memory pretty effectively. So here is our Crashlytics, where we keep track of the recent crashes in our app, and it records every single crash worldwide. So here, if we set it to the last 7 days, which is our latest release, we can see there's only one crashes here, and we can see there's the change email on complete. We can also see what device it is on and the operating systems. We already fixed this crash, and if we want to compare it with the last 30 days, where we have 229 crashes, and we can also see every single crash there is, which are already being fixed right away. So when you want to see the latest release, you can see like last 24 hours, zero crashes. So yes, this Crashlytics will kind of keep track of the number of crashes and where it's crashing, so we can rectify it right away.
Now, I like to discuss about this usability test plan dashboard. This dashboard shows the focus and also the objective that we want to try to reach when we ask users to test our app. So first, what's the product that we want to test? It's a language learning app called Belangue that is suitable for travelers and flashcard lovers for active recalling study method. And also the objective is to see if the users can create an account, log in to their account with no problem, and they can navigate through the app smoothly. And if they found the design is intuitive, and also if they can use it and to create their own deck, and if they can use other users' flashcard. If the app is useful, and also if they're satisfied. The business case of this test is to see the functionality of the app and to see their performance. If the app is not tested, the app might be useless, and we want to know what the users are thinking about the app. And also the participants are from 10 different participants and around the age of 20, and also university students that are interested in traveling. And equipment that users need to bring are either their phone, or they're going to use the emulator from our laptops. And then we use our team's laptop to record the data, which the user will fill in a Google form to answer the questions. Some of the major tasks that we ask users to do are to create an account, log into their account, and if they can find the logout button. And also they will have to test if they can use the camera to detect an object around them, and then if they can translate the words from English to the language that they pick. And also if the user can use the flashcards intuitively, and if they can create a new deck and use others' decks. And we want to see also how good camera is at catching objects and detecting them. The responsibilities is to check overall functionality of the app from account, flashcards, and camera object detection. So first we ask the participants to go to our laptop and then either use the USB or transfer or using the emulator and install it into their phones and build the app, and then they will spend 10 minutes for us to explain what is Belang and what they need to do, and if they have to memorize anything and do a certain task. and then we give them to around 20 minutes to test the app, to explore and have fun with the cameras, and then another 10 minutes they will have to fill the form in our laptops in our Google form, and then we as the team will collect the data and also produce some graphs and see and conclude the data that we get from the testing. Here's the result from the usability test. As you can see, the age varied from 19 to 24, and then we can see from the response from the participants that what they expect most from Belangue is their ability to detect objects around them and translate the objects. And I think that will be the selling point of our app. And they also excited for the machine learning language translation. Talking about creating an account or logging in or logging out, they have found no difficulties, but there is a mention that they cannot find the log out button, and I think that would be great if you make a tutorial for the next release. And also, sometimes the camera detection doesn't work, and this is due to the ML kit that is constrained to the free tier. That's why we need to improve it more for the next production. And for the translation, most of the time they work, but sometimes they do not show the object detection, or they just don't show with the words in the flashcard. For example, if you translate computer English to an Italian computer, it will say the same. The next result is if the flashcard is intuitive enough, is most of them say yes, but there is a concern that sometimes the translation doesn't work. This is due to the machine learning translation that we use that is constrained to the free tier once again, and also they all are able to create their own deck, and they can also see the other users' deck, and they would definitely recommend Belangue to their friends to learn new languages or to travel with it. We also asked for some improvement that they think will be beneficial for Belangue, such as better object detection, more available languages, and also better UI and better translation models. We understand these improvements and we will create a better version next time. And we also asked them how would they describe Beeline after using it, what is their impression, and the response are very positive. They say it's a good app, it's a fun app, and also it's very nice with the flashcard method and the automatic translation and the detection and the UI. That will conclude our usability test. So we want to discuss what's next. Based on the usability test that we conduct before, we already conclude that we want to create a better machine learning model for the object detection and also translation. And we also want to improve the UI and the UX experience so people will find it more intuitive and they can find things more easily. And we want it to be more flexible, and there is this feedback on if they can store or see their own decks. So next time, for the next production, we will create a more complex database that separates the public flashcards to the personal ones, and they can filter through users or topics, or we can show like the number of cards and the topics related to other flashcards. That's all our presentation for Belangue. Thank you for watching and have a great day.